And as the minister told you a little while ago, our economy will be US dollars 55.2 billion by the end of the coming financial year. This will mean that our economy will have grown by 37 times. It has increased 37 times in size compared to Uganda's economy of 1986. Therefore, we have done a good job on the three tasks. These tasks should be clear to all of you who get involved in running public affairs. Otherwise, you will make a lot of mistakes. The three tasks are what we call minimum economic recovery. That is what we set out to do in 1987. Minimum economic recovery, number one. Two, expansion of the sectors that had recovered. Those sectors which had recovered, to expand them. And three, diversification from the original narrow spectrum of the colonial times of the 3 C's and 3 T's. You remember I have told you many times about that economy of the colonial times of the 3 C's and the 3 T's. The 3 C's being cotton, coffee, and copper, and the T's being tobacco, tourism, and tea. So therefore, number one, we restored that small economy which had been destroyed. That is what we called the minimum recovery. Secondly, we expanded that small economy. That's why, for instance, you hear that coffee, which was 2 million bags, is now 9 million bags. Tea, which was 23 million kilograms in 1986, is now 60 million kilograms. So, number one, recovery. Number two, expansion. Number three, diversification from the original narrow economy of the 3 C's and 3 T's to many more commercialized products, such as what? Fish. Fish was dying of old age in Lake Victoria here. But now we have something like, at one time we had gone to 22 factories, but now I think we have like 12 factories of fish. Maize was just for roasting on the roadside. People didn't know that maize was money. But now maize, in fact, they used to make a distinction between what they call cash crop and food crop. And food crop was supposed not to be cash crop. So maize was cash crop, was food crop, not cash crop. It is now both. Bananas, milk, that's how my tribe had been left out of the money economy by the colonial people. Milk was just for drinking. and making the Banyankore very fat, Banyankore women very fat. But it was not a source of money. For money, for milk of selling in the towns, it was coming either from abroad or from Kenya, KCC. Beef, cocoa, beans, gold, etc. All these have now been added. So therefore, clearly, minimum recovery, expansion, diversification should be clear to all of you who talk so much about some of these things. Those are the three tasks. But we also added a fourth task, the knowledge economy. For instance, automobiles, technology. When you talk of Chira, you are now talking of a new economy. You are no longer talking of just coffee and agriculture and hotels. You are not even talking of simple manufacturing. You are talking of high knowledge, high tech manufacturing. So this is the fourth task now, the transformation, minimum recovery, expansion, diversification of what was there, but also new type of economy based on science and high technology. Example, automobiles, pharmaceuticals, vaccines, etc. This is in addition to some limited industrialization for some of the products in the areas of sugar, for instance, steel products by recycling scrap, soap manufacture, beer, beverages, cement, etc. So apart from the high tech, we're already moving also on that really low technology, value addition to our raw materials. And these are very important, very interesting figures. This value addition, sort of partial industrialization, is aimed at two missions. Number one, import substitution. Mulekerawo okusaka, don't import, make locally. But also export promotion. Now, apparently, when I was writing this short speech, when here in my house, when some people said I was in ICU, I think my ICU here is a good one, because it allows me to do one or two things, assisted by my comrade, Mama Janet, who is here, from a distance, as you can see, safe distance. So when I was writing this short speech, I asked my people, and I would like Omguruska Seija and his team to cross-check these figures, but because if they are true, they are very interesting. The import substitution value of these industrial products, these small industries of ours here, for Mitaimbwa, for all these Sabuni, those low-tech industries. Apparently, the import substitution value of these industrial products is about US dollars 3.6 billion. I didn't know that these small factories of Mitayimbwa, steel bars, soap, all these our little factories, that they are saving us a figure of $3.6 billion, which we would have to look for if we are still importing them. But they are also apparently bringing into the country as export earnings US dollars 1.6 billion. Omukazi omunyankore we yagambira antukahize ngo bere etutu yo bere shagama. There was this munyankore woman who was catching locusts. You know, the other time when you had a problem of locusts, when they were threatening us, many people did not know that some of the Ugandans were not happy with me because I killed the locusts quickly. But some of the Ugandans who eat the locusts, they said, this man has spoiled our food. He should have allowed us to deal with these locusts. NCJ. They used to catch them and eat them. So in the 1930s, when the locusts invaded us, a Munyankore woman went into the papyrus swamp to catch the NZJ, the locusts. And she was carrying a child on the back. And she was so excited with catching the locusts. Those papyrus plants sometimes can be very sharp if they are broken. So the papyrus fragment cut the throat of the child at the back, and the woman had a warm liquid, and she thought it was sweat. But when she finished catching the locusts and said, I thought it was sweat. Biriyo evereshagama. It has turned out to be blood. So me, I didn't know that the little work we were doing, I thought it was sweat, but apparently it is blood. It is something serious. We are saving you 3.6 billion import substitution and earning for you $1.6 billion from the exports of now no longer just coffee and so on and these other things, but industrial products. That's really, I was very happy to get that figure. However, the big proportion of our economy is still a raw materials economy. So please, especially the NRM cadres, understand this very clearly. This economy we are saying has grown, as Mr. Kaseja was saying, to $49 billion now, and it will be 55 point something billion by the end of this financial year, which we have entered. You should know that Chibaro, that estimation is mainly a raw materials economy. Economy echari mukutunda embidde, selling the sour bananas before you process them. Meaning, unprocessed coffee, although I am putting on fine spinners shirt here, still much of the cotton is sold as raw material. Maize, you can imagine we sell maize, owempeke, maize of grains outside, and then we import animal feeds, you can imagine. Animal feeds are from mainly maize. You sell grains of maize, you import animal feed more expensively. And our poultry farmers are crying for animal feeds. And the other people of the pigs and so on. And even the cattle people. Until recently, we have been importing leather from outside. You can imagine, Amaliba, skins and hides. Until recently, when I built that leather factory in Kaumu, our people were importing leather from China and from India. Now, this is where, and I was hearing all of you making speeches there, but I am begging you, all the NRM cadres, this is where history demands collective and cohesive action from the NRM cadres. Now that we have got an educated workforce, because now we have got, you saw what Mr. Kasaija was saying, that 80% of Ugandans now can read and write. You heard him saying it there. 80%, literacy rate, 80%. From 43% are literate. Now that we have got an educated workforce, now that we have got enough electricity, now that we have got good roads, and that we are building or repairing the railway system, here in the speech I did not add, but Mr. Kasaija talked about it. We have got cheap money in UDB for industry. Every effort must be made to add value to all our products. Because this is what is lacking now. To add value to all our products. Add value to coffee, please. Why? Because you will get money more than 10 times more when you add value to coffee than the way we are selling it now. To cotton, timber, cocoa, even fish products, although the factories are producing fish, fillet and so on, but we can add more value, apparently. Gold, we need more gold refineries. Iron ore, we don't want to sell iron ore unprocessed to anybody. We need to sell steel, copper, vermiculite. There's a lot of vermiculite in Bugisu there. Phosphates, you can imagine we are crying that there is a war in Europe, so we can't get phosphates now. We have phosphates here in Tororo. The Chinese man who had come there, our people stole money from him. He was stupid. He was giving bribes to idiots and thieves. He should have helped me to get them, and I would have hanged them. But we shall get other investors. So, adding value to phosphates, petrochemicals, maize, bananas, etc., etc. By doing this same economy will jump to US dollars 550 billion instead of the mere 55.2 billion we are talking about, laudable though it is. I am happy to say, oh, we have gone to 55.2 billion, but I'm not satisfied. No. And I think in the other speech which I gave on State of the Nation, I quoted the example of South Korea, and I was able to quote for you the economy of South Korea in 1961. I hope you can compare it with Uganda of 1961. I think that time in the other speech I said the economy of South Korea was two something billion. It is now almost 2 trillion. Imagine the little South Korea has got a GDP half of the whole GDP of Africa. Of Africa to Baswara. South Korea is half size of Uganda. But they now have a GDP which is, I think, almost 2 trillion. And you hear that, I hear all these people quoting when they go to meetings. African GDP is now 3-something trillion. I really feel embarrassed. Why can't these people keep quiet? How can the whole of Africa have economy smaller than Japan? Because Japan has got something like 5 trillion. Now here you are talking about the GDP of Africa being 3 trillion, and you talk about it. You are not even embarrassed. Me, I'm embarrassed to talk like that. That's what I was telling the NRM MPs in Chankwanzi. You are talking of the oversight. Oversight. Okay, thank you very much. But is it in order to oversight backwardness? And you feel satisfied that I'm overseeing backwardness? 39% of the people who are outside the money economy, coffee, raw material, which is 100% given away free. We are not, you should talk of transformation. You should be transformation agents. So therefore, for me, I'm insisting. Why do I say that? And I would like anybody to challenge me after this. When I get out from this corona, I will be able to face anybody who wants a challenge. Why do I say this? It is because the 55.2 billion you are talking about dollars we are talking about presupposes only a quantitative expansion of our economy through creating more products. You grow more coffee. That's how you end up. You grow more maize, more raw materials. That's how you end up growing by 6%. The one Mr. Kaseja was talking about. But if instead of just growing coffee beans, if I process a kilo of coffee from bean to powder, instead of earning $2, I earn $40. What is that percentage now? No. I'm not ready to accept that. That slave plan of slavery for Africa. My envisioned economy of US dollars, 550 billion, acknowledges the already achieved goal of quantitative expansion. Grow more coffee, grow more maize, grow more what? Fantastic. But when you add value, what what growth speed are you talking about? But adds another element. My envisioned economy of the US dollars 550 billion acknowledges the already achieved goal of quantitative expansion, but adds another element of qualitative leap through value addition. This is what I'm talking about. That is not all, however. Remember, there are still 39% of our households that are still spectators instead of being part of the players. These are the Bakorele Chida Kyonka, teach me ichkeken, working only for the stomach. Here below is a report written for me by Major Gaba, one of our army officers, about one of our wealth creators, Nyakana of Rwengaju, near Fort Portal. This army officer wrote for me a report after she had visited there with the cattle rustlers from Karamoja. These young cattle rustlers contacted me when I was in Baregi, and I met them and I said, okay, you think stealing cows is good? Let me show you how people who like cows do things. So I took them around to Fort Portal, to different places. Now this Major Gava went with them to Fort Portal and other places. When she came back, she wrote this simple report. The farm, the Nyakana's farm, even today, I think another huge group of cattle rustlers are there. Mr. Nyakana's farm sits on 1.25 acres and does the following economic activities. Number one, zero grazing. It has a total number of 6 cows, out of which 5 are lactating. These 5 cows produce 116 liters of milk per day. A liter of milk in the area ranges between shillings 1,000 and 1,200. Earnings, he sells 100 liters per day and spends 40,000 per day on their feeding. So that is 100 liters times 1,000 shillings, that's 100,000 shillings, minus 40,000 shillings expenditure. So his daily net income from cows is 60,000. This is net now. He has removed the costs. So daily 60,000 times 30 days, 1.8 million a month, times 12 months, 21.6 million from milk on 1 acre, 1.25 acres. Then his other enterprise was poultry, is poultry. He has got 7,500 birds. This is the language, of course, I don't use myself, because I don't call, Nkoko are not enyonyi. This we are of foreigners which you copy. Enyonyi is enyonyi, Nkoko is Nkoko. You can't say Nkoko is enyonyi. You must be mad. You can't be from Africa here. I've even had some people calling cows animals. Animals. I feel like fighting. You cannot call my cows animals. They are cows. Ente is ente, and Nyamaishwa is a Nyamaishwa. So please,